We're in a cyber war right now. I swear to God, and we are in at war. There's a cyber war going on with both our friends and foes. Did you know that?
Yeah, it's pretty obvious to anybody that's into that tech field, if you will.
Mm.
I know I may be just a layman, but no, seriously, I think that anybody that does 5 minutes of research can figure out that based on the saturation of ridiculous news coverage on in the mainstream media, um, I think most people have seen through it for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, like I said, 5 minutes of investigating, you can pretty much figure out that there's something else happening, and it's refreshing to see somebody that was in the business, if you will, like yourself, talk about it.
Yeah, people, companies, countries would hire me to help put these things together, right? So I know wherefrom I speak. And if anybody out there doesn't think that other countries, friend and foe, are doing the same thing to us as we do to all of them, then they're crazy. They're not logical. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to call them crazy or pick on them, but they're not thinking about it logically. And you'll have. I mean, think about it. We spy on. We know that Obama spied on Angela Merkel. We spy on all sorts of people. We spend money um, for psychological operations on against Israel to try to have Bibi kicked out. Obama spent. This is a fact. It's in the news very recently that Obama spent a lot of money, several $100,000 that they put into into a psyop to try to have Bibi removed. That's why I think, and these are all pieces of why I think Israel is one of the most likely candidates for being responsible for the DNC hack, right? So Russia is just always on any day that ends in Y, trying to do something to, and when I say Russia, I mean Putin and his people.
Yeah.
Russian people are good people.
Would
I
you
love
say
them.
the KGB?
My second wife was Russian. No, it's not the KGB anymore.
Okay, I'm just wondering.
But he's old. He's previous KGB. They're old school. It's actually not even. It's all Russian mafia. It went from being something political just to something organized to organized crime. That's all it is. You can't give them credit for anything more. And they've taken this. Putin has taken this organized crime syndicate, and he's gone political with it. He turned it into an office, and he now is the president of Russia, and he has one persona where he's the good president of Russia. He has another persona which has friends going way, way back. It's thought that Putin is possibly one of the wealthiest men on the planet, but nobody can verify that fully. You don't get that way in his situation. I don't remember him writing the code for Microsoft or for Apple. So having him end up with more money than Bill Gates makes me wonder, what was his talent? Well, his talent was, organized crime. So you have these people that are constantly trying to alter the outcome of our elections, to alter the stability or to mess with the stability of our country. Russia, like I said, any day that ends in a Y is going to be trying to do that. Putin's Russia is going to be trying to do that. But the DNC hack was designed, I believe, to make Russia look like they did it while still making it almost impossible for Hillary Clinton to become president and turn the impossible into having Donald Trump become the president. Now, it's not about Donald Trump, never was. If any other Republican
yeah.
or anybody, even Democrat or Republican, possibly other than Hillary Clinton,
Let's not
who
take
was Obama's, was
Yeah,
Obama's,
it was a
you know,
shoo-in, yeah.
third term.
dude. I'm sorry to say the word "dude" all the time to you,
No, I
but
am
that
comfortable with that.
I think
have a
that
PP.
you can't take away the fact that 3,300 some odd counties in the United States voted for Trump, and like 200 and some odd counties voted for Clinton.
Mhm.
The country voted for our president.
Mhm.
So I understand that we're talking about the hack
Mhm.
and the leak of the DNC emails and corruption, and they're trying to blame the Russians for it. Nobody wrote those emails but the DNC. People
Mhm.
don't seem to realize that. It was just leaked by somebody.
Mhm.
Nobody from Russia or from Israel made half this country vote for the president.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying?
And they're saying it might have been Hillary's own people and such, but don't rule out them being helped by someone like, or being influenced
Sure.
through PSYOP
Yeah.
by Israel, or
I understand
another-
exactly why you're going with Israel
So-
too, because they've been
well-
attacked by Obama for so long,
attacked by Obama.
and they were one of our strongest allies.
They're attacked
and
by NATO,
popular in the news. You know,
right? They just got attacked, not by NATO, but by the UN.
yeah.
Right, the UN's throwing sanctions at them for the, so they wanted somebody other than a third term Obama in there,
Yeah.
who literally spent money. Now, if Obama does that to Israel, who's our friends, do you think for a moment that there are not other countries that are running IAA, IO, psychological operations, social media, PSYOP against us? Now,
Yeah.
if you wanted to affect the outcome of an election, releasing hacked emails is not going to really ensure that. The way you ensure that is through social media psychological warfare, which is exactly what Russia loves to do on us constantly. But there are other countries. I see the UK right now so active, like, and call me crazy, I don't care. But the UK, individuals within the UK seem so actively hell-bent on messing with our politics. They're trying to bring us, like no other country on the planet right now, they're trying to bring us to war with Russia. You've got them trying to delegitimize our president.
Can you?
And I'm like, don't you guys remember 1776?
Yeah.
Don't you guys remember 1812? A couple serious dates where, what was it? Was it 1776? We were going with the "Don't Tread on Me" thing, right? Actually,
believe it was something like that.
So,
yeah.
whenever it was, don't
Can we
quote me on
explain
history.
more about this? Let's tease this
Mhm.
for after our only break for this show.
We can do an only break, but
Yeah.
I definitely want you to hold that thought on the "Don't Tread on Me."
Okay, let's do it.
Because that is all about the British right there. The British are coming. The British are coming.
There we go. We'll be right
Next
back.
on Voice of the Veteran. And welcome back to Voice of the Veteran. We are going on our "Don't Tread on Me, the British are coming, the British are coming" segment of this week's episode. Kevin,
Why?
Did you
Why?
did you enjoy your break?
I did. Thank you. Why are they so adamant about us? Are they really still sore? Are they sour from 1776?
Do you think could there be Revolutionary War snowflakes passed down generationally that
Didn't-
still hold a grudge
It didn't work out for them very
about
well back then.
the War of 1812 and the Revolutionary War?
I mean,
Could they? Is a snowflake a new thing?
are they the
they've been
same?
around.
Are they the same people that? I don't. I think you're right. They've probably been around, but are they the same people that are for gun control now they want to start a war?
I have a theory with the evolution
Mhm.
of snowflakes. My theory is that they will soon evolve into the same type of radicalized individuals as you have with your ISIS terrorists,
Mhm.
right? Which, if you notice my tweet from earlier,
I classify that Mahmoud guy that just killed those people in the UK as being a level 2 or level 3 snowflake. I call them radical a-hole terrorists, or RATs for short. They are the evolutionary product of the radicalized snowflake. What do you think of that theory?
I think it might be dead on.
I'm thinking a couple months tops. We're gonna have one strap on a homicide vest, yelling, wearing a vagina suit,
Yeah.
an explosive vagina suit. Strap on an explosive vagina vest.
What about that?
It just explode.
Wow, man. Are you off your meds? Look at you.
The thought of that, I'm like, wait, I didn't even realize that was going to work out that way.
That's pretty funny, man. Let me ask you this. If you're in the mall and you are a radical and your child's name is Allah Akbar and he goes missing in the mall and you're like, Allah Akbar! Allah Akbar! You feel bad
That
at
could
that
be.
moment.
You wouldn't want to name your dog that.
No.
Akbar.
I'm
You're
just
gonna end
saying.
up on a list pretty darn quick.
I think we're there already,
Yeah.
dude.
But that's stage 2, stage 3, where they strap on the exploding vagina suit.
Just the concept of strapping on a vagina anything.
They run out there. Oliver Clinton. Oliver Hillary.
If
What the hell is that, mommy? I don't know.
I'm going to speak in memes one more time. What if gender identity is a social construct, how can you have a woman's day or a man's day?
How could gender identity be much anything else but a social construct? Although you get in the argument of people being born that way, and I have a lot of gay friends. I do.
I'm sure
the
you
two,
do. Yeah.
In my first marriage, my two best men were both gay. Some of my best friends.
Mhm.
So I can, I joke with this, but
Oh,
I
so you
do
have a gay
believe-
friend, so that makes it okay. You can say whatever you want.
I do. I can
Okay.
say, yeah, I can make
Okay,
gay
sure.
jokes. I have
Yeah.
gay friends.
Okay.
I know zero black people, so I can't make any black comments.
That's ridiculous.
But no, I see where you were going with that, though. If you
You called me
if
out.
you have black friends, if you have gay friends that you can talk,
I have several gay black friends. So
I love during the campaign how whenever Hillary would go like in front of a group of black people, she would talk like a soul person,
mm-hmm.
and it was so how
Obama
how
did it too.
these he got in. How did a black man get in trouble for talking
Like a black
like
man.
a black man only in America?
I mean,
Really?
technically speaking, he
I
was
think-
half black man.
I think that's one they should have given him, right? I mean, oh my God, I can't believe he's talking like an African American. Oh my God. Are you serious? That really happened. But yeah, people
that's
will
how
pander.
sick it is, man.
People
Yeah.
will pander to whatever group they're in front of to get in office.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where so we got steered away. Had to jump into that.
Well,
that,
let's not get steered away too
that
far.
my rat.
When I was
Because we're gonna need to have a name for them when they do start strapping on
Mhm.
their explosive vagina
there
suits.
we go.
And I think radical a-hole terrorists,
I love it. I love it.
because they're not they're rats.
Is it wrong if when I go to like the hibachi buffet and I ask for sushi and I roll my L's?
No,
Okay,
no,
I'm just checking.
they're good.
I love that place,
I love sushi.
dude.
So, as we drift away, let me get back to
Mhm.
the British are coming.
Yes.
Okay, you're gonna think I'm crazy.
No.
Take a number, right? But if you sit there on social media, if you look at the origin of where some of these people are, at Lois Mensch, she's becoming one of the lead snowflakes out there. She's from the UK, and I truly, I came upon her when she said things that like nobody would know unless they worked in IAIO PSYOP.
Hmm.
You wouldn't know the things that she knows. Now she'll say, "Well, I'm a reporter and I I discovered." You know, that's going to be your argument. I can't dispute that either way. But the one way to tell of someone who's involved in this, in like a tell that they usually give, is that they know so much about it, and she does. In the one tweet that I sent you earlier today, an article was done, it's a textbook interactive internet activity IIA information operation PSYOP, right? Textbook for a country to do. They would hire someone in their employ who's has past government experience, which, as I understand, she was in their parliament or whatever. It would be a recognized personality, and you would bring them in. What was it? Julia Childs was with the British Secret Service or whatever, the SIS or something. What was, remember? Julia Childs was
I
part of that. They bring people in like this, and these people now, Louise Mensch, she moved about 2010, I believe, in that area, to the U.S. to start a clothing line after she left her job in government service with the U.K. Now, if the was it GCHQ, the British cyber unit, the British intel unit, if they were going to put people in place, which they are going to put people in place all over the world, but if they're going to put people in place that can influence U.S. U.S. Stability or U.S. elections or things like that, they're going to put someone like Lois in place. She will have been trained or experienced in social media psychological warfare. I believe that's potentially, in my mind, it's like, wow, why was I immediately drawn to her? Because she was saying things that only someone who's been into this business, I believe, would know and understand. Then they set up this thing with the Daily Kos, an extremely left-wing site. Their objective here, the Daily Kos comes out giving credit for Lois Mensch for exposing a particular Twitter persona as being most likely a professional, government-sponsored, or organization-sponsored social media psychological operations persona. So she goes on her Twitter feed and rants for a while saying, I know you're not real, you're just a persona and this and that. But then Daily Kos does a quick little or reads something that some other person, I don't even know what their background was, discovered, and that was they went to this Twitter user's website, and if you look into the Java or the header information of the website, they found something that was just sort of strangely put in there. There was no reason in the code for that to be there. It just said something about a crab shack. Well, they associated that crab shack with a neo-Nazi organization. And the rest of the Twitter feeds born from that were all about how Donald Trump's office or somebody within the Trump administration was working with neo-Nazi groups to was using this Twitter handle as a persona for neo-Nazi groups. And they tied in Breitbart, and then they tied in Bannon and all the typical things they did with the neo-Nazi. Now, maybe this guy is, they're saying that he's like a Russian that's working, a neo-Nazi, working for them, whatever. On that same note, you're talking about an organization, you're talking about a persona that you believe to be created by another group of organization that's using IO, psychological operations. Well, on that same note, and if you know so much about it, what was to stop Lois Mensch and GCHQ from putting together that site, from creating that persona, from building that persona up as a likely troll by Lois Mensch, from having a left-wing organization like Daily Kos, who's working with them on this particular thing, accidentally stumble upon or be fed a link to this user's website, which makes him look like he's a Nazi, and now they've started a conversation about somebody from the White House spewing Nazi stuff. What's to prevent Lois Mensch, GCHQ, UK intelligence from having done that? Because there seems to be a very clear organized attempt by the UK to delegitimize our president. Stay the hell out of America's business. When will the British learn that Americans don't like them up in our stuff? Haven't we displayed that to them before already? But they don't seem to have gotten the message. Does it make sense what I'm describing to you?
It certainly does, and I think that part of the reason that we don't want them up in our business is because, as a core, as a foundation, when we left there,
Well, it started out with that tax thing.
yeah, seriously though,
Yes.
it's what it spawns from. We wanted freedom from that,
Mhm.
and they're notorious over on that side of the pond for having the exact opposite viewpoints as most Americans, and that's evident with the election.
How many
You know?
wars have we been in with Russia since America
A Cold War once?
was started? That's not a war. That's a
Yeah.
Cold War. How many actual fighting, thousands of people dying wars have we been in with Russia? Russia versus America. We've been
At least
we've had
50.
we've had proxy wars, and that we've had, to my knowledge, none. There have been proxy wars where the Russians helped blah blah blah, or the North Korea, right? All of these things. There have been proxy wars, but there's never been a direct war between us. I can think of at least 2 direct wars that we've had with the UK. Now, why is it that the UK is trying to bring us to war? And I swear to God, they are. They are doing everything they can through social media, psychological warfare, to bring the U.S. to war with Russia. I truly believe that from what I've seen. And I can show you example after example. If you go to the nastiest, most likely candidates for Twitter trolls that are actually personas created by other governments. And when I say other governments, you got China that does it to us. Oh, you don't believe China would try to influence the stability of our country? You don't believe Iran would hire groups of people to try to influence, who spoke English, to try to influence the stability of our country? You don't think, and Russia's on that list? That's a day that ends in Y for Vladimir Putin, is the ability to influence us through social media. Unless you just don't believe that this exists, then I can't help you with that. But it does.
Now, don't you think Russia would be smart enough to see through whatever the UK is doing to try to...
I'm pretty sure if Russia did the DNC hack, they would have been smart enough not to lead them, not to have the evidence, all evidence, point directly to them within 24 hours by the FBI.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure if the Russians I'm 100% sure.
Didn't the
if the
FBI
Russians
lose
did-
credibility because of the DNC and the investigation? The whole Clinton and the AG and the plane.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
come on, man.
So exactly. Credibility through that whole thing was shot. the Democrats do not care at all when Bill Clinton meets on the plane with the Attorney General.
Lynch.
But
yeah.
they are absolutely up in arms when when our national security advisor Flynn, I believe, had a conversation which nobody knows what was said with the Russians, and he wasn't entirely honest about that conversation with the vice president. Right? So they are completely up at arms with that impeachment, impeachment, impeachment. Why weren't they yelling for, for Bill Clinton's head? When
Why weren't they yelling
did that?
for Hillary Clinton to step down from the campaign?
Oh,
after
sure.
that, you know?
Oh my goodness. With that other lady she was the head of the DNC who she got her emails hacked as well.
What's her name?
No, not well. You got Debbie Wasserman Schultz.
Yeah.
She's now involved with in an FBI investigation because several of her IT admins were using escalated privileges. They were contractors using escalated privileges on a network that they weren't authorized to have escalated privileges on. Does that sound familiar to you? Do you recognize anything maybe from my book
Maybe.
about me losing my job because a guy was trying to get escalated privileges when he didn't have the permissions and rights?
Yep.
Was he stopped from doing that? No, I lost my job.
Well, your
for
reputation.
trying to retire it and everything.
Your reputation has a lot to do with your success. So you shouldn't have called him out or said no to him for that because you should have saved your own job in the contract.
yeah, sure.
It's ridiculous,
Yeah.
man. Come on.
But that's how that happens. That's how these people get the rights, and then they can access stuff. So when you're looking at potentials for people leaking this stuff out, and these people might not necessarily just do this for themselves. They might have been approached by Israel, by other groups that wanted Hillary to fail and Russia to look bad. That's what you look for. Who gains from Russia looking really bad and Hillary failing and not becoming president? There's a limited number of countries that benefit from that. I don't see anybody from the Trump organization benefiting from that scenario. I don't see anybody from the Trump organization benefiting from any of the Russian scandal that happened. Would the Trump organization be so unprofessional and unorganized running an IAEA, PSYOP? And trust me, all major political campaigns hire companies to do this stuff. These companies sell these services, the military grade services that they provide to our Defense Department, to the CIA, to all of these organizations for social media psychological warfare. They turn around and offer these same packages to campaigns. And I guarantee you, every major political campaign that ran in the last couple of years is going to have payments made that can be traced to companies like Leone, MPRI, Agility, Dynology,
yeah.
L3, General Dynamics. They're going to have large sums of money paid for IT services or something that would never stand up to normal people. But if you're out there looking for a way to find a trail as to who actually was involved with the Russian scandal, with the DNC hackings, email hackings, that's where you start your investigation. You look into the financial records of all these people. You're going to see that all of them pay these companies for these services.
Mm-hmm.
And these companies are capable of providing the very services that could perform a false flag operation, that could that could set up a website that has some neo-Nazi association hidden deep within it. Those are honeypots. You build those and leave them as traps for people to find. So, it's the cheapest, simplest thing that someone like Lois Mensch, someone like the British government could do to whittle away piece by piece at the integrity of our presidency and inherently our democracy. And I think they're trying something funny. And I am breaking out the "Don't Tread on Me" flag again. I think it's time for that.
I agree. I do. Well, is this all a product? Is this all a product of not accepting our president?
I think it is. And everything that I've said,
Why is it?
everything that I have said has as much, if not more, evidence behind it than anything that anyone has presented with the Russian hacking
Anything-
Trump conspiracy.
Anything you see on the news? Yeah.
So everything that I'm just throwing out
It's
here,
amazing.
which actually I'm throwing it out based on almost a decade as a subject matter expert in this stuff, paid pretty big sums of money by a lot of people to do this. I'm telling you, it's people need to wake up.
I agree, man. I think we should close out the show. Let's tease next week. What do you want to do next week?
We can do that. Next week, let's. Oh, there was one more thing
Okay. Cool.
that I want to discuss with you.
We have time.
That was the request that I sent you to forward our show from last week about Victim of the Swamp.
Yes.
Um,
To one.
and by the way, do you like the idea of changing the name of the book to Victim of the Swamp?
I do.
Reflections of a Sacred Trust.
I
like
think it's
that
much better. I mean, I'm not taking anything away from the 40-Year-Old Private.
Mhm.
That's a fantastic story.
Mhm.
But, excuse me, it is your story. And I think that The Victim of the Swamp
Mhm.
is a more accurate description in whole, in a
Mhm.
larger, broader spectrum
Mhm.
than you were for the first 40-Year-Old Private
Mhm.
at Fort Bennington, arguably.
Fort Bennington.
Is that what I said?
Fort Bennington's Comedy Club, the one over on Indian.
Bennington's. Hey, come on down.
Bennington,
See
yeah.
Pat Berge. All right. He'll be here twice tomorrow. Tip your waitress. No, but you were the 40-Year-Old Private.
Mhm.
And that's an amazing story. But that's just one part of your book.
Mhm.
And I think the message.
Ran for office.
Yeah, but the message is more of I'm a victim of the swamp.
Mhm.
And now that it's popular,
Mhm.
it's time.
Mhm.
It's time to release the book.
Yeah.
You've been waiting long enough.
What destroyed my life is now popular.
It is.
You gotta love it, right?
It's ridiculous.
I think
man, but
people are now starting to understand the depth
yeah.
of the fraud, waste, and abuse
Mhm.
in the relationship between our government, the military, and the military-industrial complex. And that's why I didn't want the book to be named about me like the 40-Year-Old Private. I thought it was better that the book be more about the message that I'm trying to tell, the story I'm telling. I'm a character in this book.
It's not about you.
It's not about me. I'm
Yeah.
a character in this who happens to suffer a lot, who suffers a great deal. I am the Joe the plumber, only I'm Pat the Patriot, right?
Mhm.
I am
Pat the
that
Patriot.
equivalent. Pat the Patriot. I'm
I like
that
that.
equivalent
Nice ring to it.
of your social media.
I think Pat the Patriot should replace Joe the Plumber. You don't hear much about Joe the Plumber anymore.
No, you don't.
You
no,
know-
you don't. He's become quite successful, though, I believe.
Well,
so,
I think it's
you
your
know.
turn. I think it's your time.
But yeah, so I was just I went in there as a patriot,
Mhm.
and that's all I'm I'm a piece of this book, but the book is about my experience, what I witnessed over that decades period of time, and it was just rampant. The fraud, the waste, the abuse, it was just rampant. So you're helping me out with finishing up, with working on the editing of the book. I believe you're dragging your girlfriend in on this, maybe a little
No,
bit.
my sister. Well,
sister.
what's the difference, really?
Mhm.
It is
You're
Florida.
dating your sister?
No.
Okay,
Well,
there was
we do
whoa,
go-
pause, big difference.
It is
There's
Florida.
There's
I mean,
kind of a difference. If you're dating your sister.
I baited you, and I failed.
Yeah.
I tried to
No,
make it be
yeah.
funny, but
I sort of. The sad thing is, I sort of like believed it. I'm like, well, I've known Kevin a couple months. With
I
that.
have.
There
most
should have
of
been
my-
more hesitation with me,
Yeah, I have most of my teeth.
thinking that's
you
a
know.
joke.
I'm glad that we can build a professional relationship together at this moment right now.
Yeah, well, we're in the professional building,
True, true.
so
And you talked about being tortured and suffering.
mm.
You are in this box with me right now, so I feel for you.
Oh no! The torture, the suffering
Yeah, it is what it
is at a whole nother level. But I don't. My problems are worse than some people's, not as bad as others. Right? And that's sort of why I don't want this to be about me.
No.
It's not about me. We have a chance to actually hold our leadership, those that have accepted that sacred trust, that our elected officials, our office holders, and service members, these people have a sacred trust that they were given by Americans to do their job, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we need to be able to expose people who violate that sacred trust. That's why I like the name of the book, Victim of the Swamp, Reflections of a Sacred Trust.
I think it's beautiful. It'll make a great cover
Mm-hmm.
on the book.
Mm-hmm.
And it really has an annotation. It sings a song of what the book actually has in it. The 40-Year-Old Private is a great title, and it's a great story, but there's more to it than that.
There's the election. There's the campaign that I ran for office. In itself, a great story, right?
Mhm.
So although it's not about me, the things that I experienced, just, I sort of did, and I'll finish up here real quick. When I was starting off my campaign, somebody had made the comment about how like Jesus walking on water and stuff, right? Well, when it comes to believing in something and doing it, you can't walk on water if you don't get out of the boat. So many people sit on Twitter and think that they're actually making a difference with our society. No, you make a difference by logging out of Twitter and going and vote. You make a difference by logging out of Twitter, getting off your couch, and enlisting in the army and defending your country, right?
Mm-hmm.
You make a difference by running for office, not complaining about how everything is running so crappy.
Pat, we're only as strong as our weakest link.
A flashlight's only as strong as its weakest battery,
Yeah.
right? So, with that being said, we need some Energizer bunnies in this house, and that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna come in there, and we're going to fail, but we're going to try our best to get this message out through the publication of my story, of my book, through this broadcast, and through other multimedia exchanges.
Mhm.
I thank you for your help with all this. I thank you for your time tonight. I thank everybody who listens to this. In the next couple weeks, see, I'm not a broadcaster. I am an IT guy that's sort of pissed off at a few people. So I have made it a big part of my life to fix something that's wrong, right?
Yeah.
And doing that has now led me into learning to be broadcast. We don't even do this live right now. I'm not, oh my goodness, I'm
Oh,
spilling the beans.
your time will come. You're gonna
Because
go. Yeah.
I'm nervous and I'm learning about this. But we're getting pretty good.
I like it. I'm having a
Right?
great time. I really am. I'm learning a lot, and I appreciate the opportunity to voice my layman opinion, if you will.
You don't.
You know.
I think I probably have taught you things that you wouldn't have otherwise.
Oh yeah, no,
suspected.
it's really cool, and you're not the first person in recent history in my life
Mhm.
to open my eyes. And I've gone down some different roads and learned that that wasn't the correct road.
Mhm.
You know, when it comes to conspiracy theories and believing what people tell you.
Mhm.
And I've learned a lot, and what's really fun about it is being proven right, being
Mhm.
proven correct, having
Yeah.
a theory, and then it's not a conspiracy theory until it's, you know, it's only conspiracy theory until it's proven fact. You know what I mean?
totally agree with that.
It's a lot of fun,
The
you know?
problem with cyber warfare, which we are at war with many different countries, this problem with cyber warfare, IIA, IOPSYOP, is that if done properly, you'll never know the truth.
Yeah.
You'll only know what the people who put this together want you to know.
Yeah, you got
Or
to
want
follow
you
the
to
trail,
think,
follow the money,
right?
follow
You're-
the trail. You know,
But you'll follow it. And those will lead you. Those will give you clues. But a bill of sale to Leone for $3 million is not proof. It's IT work, right?
Yeah.
And to get the proof, these people are going to be scattered. They all worked on NDAs. They all worked. Many of them carry clearances, although they wouldn't be applicable for these things. They understand how to work in very covert situations, and that's all this stuff is. So again, thank you for your help. I do think that we put out some informative stuff here. Look forward to bringing to you next week some really good stuff. There's supposed to be some stuff released about the Obama administration tapping Trump.
Yeah.
I have some opinions on that. I have some theories, some hypothesis.
I'd like to
that
talk
I
about
think
it.
would be interesting.
I think it would be great for next week too, because
Mhm.
let's give it a few days to kind of pan out.
Oh yeah.
You know, it's fresh right now.
Mhm.
You know,
And I'm going to start, once we start doing live broadcasts, I'm actually going to do shorts during the day as well.
I think it's a great idea.
You know, I've
Yeah.
got things. You've been teaching me a ton, and I thank you.
Thanks for that
You've been
compliment,
doing
man.
this
Yeah.
for a while now.
Yeah, yeah.
You've pretty much taught yourself, I believe,
Well, I
in a
mean,
lot of ways.
I-
You have some background.
I do
but
have an engineering degree,
you've
but you know,
put this together.
you couldn't tell by the noisy room. But
You've
yeah.
put this together, although the on-air sign isn't lit tonight.
We're not on air.
Uh,
I don't want to confuse you.
Are we? We're on something. We're on. We're
Peyote. We're on peyote
We're on
tonight.
peyote. We're in digital, in the digital ether. We're in the tubes.
No,
We're in the tubes.
it's a series of tubes.
We're
Pat.
not in the tubes. We're in the truck right now. We're not in the tubes. All right.
I appreciate the love, man. Thank you. That does mean a lot. You know, I still feel, and I always will feel like that 8th grade student that I was back in 1989 or whatever it was, making prank phone calls to the Dr. Demento show
Mm.
and listening to
It's
you know,
time for number one.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And it's disguising my voice, trying to sound older, and requesting songs for my baby. You know, things like that. So it's fun for me, is what I'm trying to say.
You
I'm
know,
still
Dr.
having
Demento
fun.
lived in Safety Harbor.
Dude, Dr. Demento is such an amazing character and person that there are tribute shows to him, and he approves of them. You know, there's Facebook groups and pages dedicated to him.
Mm-hmm.
He still does his work. It's amazing. I mean, I would never have learned of so many of the different parodies and different musicians and things that I've
Mhm.
grown up with.
Weird Al.
Oh my God. Yeah, that is like,
Just name it.
yeah, it's the best.
Mhm.
To me, that I could listen to Fish Heads and laugh my ass off over and over again.
Rolly,
Yeah,
rolly,
you know.
fish heads. I listened to him live when he was doing radio broadcasts back in the early 70s,
Wow. Yeah.
right? So I was listening to him in Michigan when I couldn't have been 10 to 12 years old, staying up late on the radio. I'm
Mhm.
51 now, so that's 40 plus years ago. I was listening to Dr. Demento before you even probably born.
I was born in 75, and by 85, before
Mm-hmm.
the Super Bowl, I would say by 82, at
Mhm.
5 and 7 years old, I was already sneaking over the banister and watching Johnny Carson while my dad was watching it when I was supposed to be in bed, and listening to every word of it and laughing. You know, Frank Sinatra, all those guys. You know, but getting into radio, you know, probably about the 6th, 7th grade, I was probably 10, 11, 12 years old, something like that. And literally the same thing, you know, one of those cassette players with a tape in it, like, you know, like what did they call them back then? A ghetto box? You know, they would break dance with them.
Blasters.
Yeah, ghetto blaster. I'd have something like that. And
That's sort of racist, isn't it?
no, I don't think so. They called it that. Can we call it that? Because they called it that. I mean,
Who was it?
I called it a ghetto blaster growing up, and I never got my ass kicked over it.
Yeah.
Do we?
but
I
that's
went to
it.
skate jams.
Today, the PC police
Yeah,
would
right.
be like,
yeah.
oh my God.
Back then it was fine, dude. I
Yeah.
mean, we called it a freaking ghetto
Yeah,
blaster.
You'd be a
you know?
racist for calling it a ghetto blaster.
I never got called a racist saying that as a kid.
Oh,
But
yeah.
anyway, I would have that with a cassette tape stuck in it upside down. You know how they would load, you know? And I would be listening to Dr. Demento on the FM dial, and I would take the landline, corded phone to the wall, and we would sit there, me and my friend, my friend Trey and I would sit there on sleepovers in 7th and 8th grade and call in and try to get through. And when we did, we'd be like, I'd like to request a song.
Deep Boys.
Yeah,
Older.
yeah, for my baby, whatever. And we would do that and then hit record, and hopefully after
You
the
get
break,
it
yeah,
played down there. You're famous now.
it was
You hear
the
your voice
coolest
on
thing
the
in the
radio.
world. Yeah, you know what I mean? So to this day, I'm still like a little kid behind the microphone, laughing my butt off, playing parody songs, making parodies, making prank phone calls.
I have a lot.
Why not?
I have a lot to learn from you, but you've already made me dangerous. I can't.
You've made me want it.
I
I'm on a
can't-
list now.
I can't even imagine when I start learning the buttons what kind of crap I can get myself into. It's
Well,
going to be fun.
I
look forward to
hope
it.
you have that childlike intrigue to it, because it'll make you happy. It really will. When you sit where I'm sitting right now, and you have the freedom to stop and start and edit and put together something, and then listen to the final product and make yourself laugh, then it's worth every second of it. And if you get one person to hit the follow button or the like button or the share button, you're like, oh my God, that guy liked it too. You get all excited, you know. It's
totally
amazing.
made myself laugh with the exploding vaginas.
How would that end up? You know, it's like I don't even want to say it. You know, there's
Oh my God.
what is all over the place. You know what I mean? It's like boom. Oh.
Oh.
God.
Mommy, what's that? Oh my God, it's a rat.
On that note, ladies and gentlemen, may I, Pat? May
You
I?
may.
Please tune into
Take
The
it
Voice of the
away.
Veteran next week. Also, stick around for newly released information. Pat, what is the new name of your
The Freedom Stream.
Thank you. The Freedom Stream is on its way, as well as The Victim of the Swamp, the book.
The Freedom Stream, doing the voice of the veteran.
Exactly.
All right. We're
Yes.
going to start doing shortly veterans interviews for the Veterans History Project. Awesome project.
Library of Congress. Yes.
Those will be sent to the Library of Congress and archived there for historians. So, lots of good stuff lined up.
Well, stick around next week and you'll learn pretty much everything about it. There's going to be a couple of surprises, too, that we didn't talk about on air tonight. Oh, wait. Did I say on air? Anyway.
Yes, you did.
Thanks for listening, everybody. Pat, thanks for being here, man.
Roger that.
I always have fun, man. So we'll see you
Roger
next
that.
week.
Over and out.